Hey friends, this is Mark Lewis, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about building instead of testing. Okay, continually people want to test their skills instead of building it, and the example I'm going to use is out of powerlifting. So in powerlifting, we typically like to max out once a week on lower body, one lower body exercise, and one low upper body exercise, usually a couple days apart. So we're talking about a max effort day and a dynamic day if you're following West Side stuff. Okay. And in this kind of a system, we want to beat our records by 5 pounds in every single month. So you're only adding 60 pounds to your core lifts for the entire year. So this is 60 pounds to your deadlifts, 60 pounds for your bench press, and 60 pounds to your squat. I don't really typically want to go over that because then you're going to end up plateauing anyway. So you want to have a long career instead of a very fast short career. So some people, when they start out, obviously you're going to be doing better. And the same thing in pool, same thing in everything you do. You're going to get good pretty quick, and then you're going to hit a plateau, and then you're going to need to be very systematic. And that's what this drill is about. This is a ladder drill, and in this particular drill, it's got interfering balls that you don't want to hit. It's getting from this ball to that ball, going all the way across all 15 balls on the rail, and 3 interfering balls in the center. And so in this ladder drill, what we're trying to do is hit this cue ball into the one ball, and I put them in order. Okay, so the lowest number ball first. I'm trying to get the cue ball to come off the short rail, and come back into some kind of a zone for the 4 ball. We hit the 4 ball in, and we get it to some kind of off this rail, off the long rail, avoid the 15 ball, and come back into position for the 7 ball. And we have a whole nother sequence. But what I'm trying to do is break it down into micro goals. So if I know that the 1 ball, I have to get the cue ball somewhere around where my hand is. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start here, and I'm going to play the 1 ball until I get it into a zone. Now, maybe you have a dollar bill that you can put down, or any kind of a piece of paper or a target that you can use to say, I'm in this zone. But it's not good enough to just get it to where I could take ball in hand right here and this works for me. We want to be able to get in any position in this window, in this pie, all the way up to a pretty shallow angle, and get the cue ball still to that one zone. So I'm exploring this 1 ball from multiple positions. That way I can absolutely own this shot on the 1 ball. Okay? And then what I'm going to do, if I've mastered that area, the 1 ball, I'm going to switch it up and shoot the 8 ball in the opposite pocket. So I'm not just shooting on this 1 ball, I'm mastering it from the other side too, because it's tip position and it's also speed control, and it's from both sides of the table, so you're getting the right and left cut shots. So let's imagine that I did the 8 ball, the same kind of pattern, and I've done this enough to where I think I've graduated from the 8 ball. Now I'm going to go to, if I had optimal position on the 4 ball, what would I have to do? What would that look like? Because I still have to hit right next to the side pocket, between the 12 ball and the side pocket, and avoid the 15 ball to come back out and get shaped for the 7 ball. Well, I know that if I get too flat of an angle, then the tip position is going to be on the vertical axis, meaning that I'm going to use more low and tip position this way on the vertical axis to get the cue ball in position if I've got a shallower angle. If I've got less than a shallow angle, if I've got an acute angle, I'm probably going to be using more spin, because the cue ball is going to come off the rail and arc, and I'm going to hit it into the 14 ball. Okay? So I'm going to shoot softer speed, more spin to get the cue ball to go where I want it to go. So I'm shooting it from every possible position that I can into this 4 ball, and still trying to get a good angle on this 7 ball. Avoiding the 15, not coming back down table too far, but it's got to make sure that it's correctly getting on the 7 ball. So I've got the 4 ball down. I'm looking at the 7 ball. I'm doing the same thing to the 7 ball. Okay? But it's to the opposite end of the table. So I'm going to save that for a different day. I still have to do the same thing from the opposite side of the table. I'm still saying optimal position is here, shooting on the 11 ball, but I also want to be able to get it, if I get out of position just a little bit, can I still get position on this 12 ball? Okay, so I'm working on each one of these shots progressively. And so for me, if I'm looking at a fairly difficult drill like this ladder drill, maybe I'll be looking at it for a month, and I would like to take the first leg of it, the 1 ball to the 4 ball, and maybe I would consider this shot, the 1 ball to the 4 ball, for a couple of days, 3 or 4 days, until I'm really consistent. Maybe I would say 150 shots. Maybe I would say a certain amount of hours that I'm going to spend on this drill. And then I'm going to go to the 4 ball, going and to get in shape on the 7 ball. And how many hours, how much, if you want to say, I've got to do it 10 times in a row or 5 times in a row, depending on your skill level. So I've gotten this shot down, and then I go to the 7 ball, and maybe I'm doing the opposite. I'm shooting the ball from the opposite side of the table. So I would say this 8 ball that would have been here, I spend a week on that shot. And then I shoot the 14, 15, and the 13s in the center of the table. So there's no more interfering balls besides these 3. So I'm shooting that part of the big, tough drill. And then all of a sudden, I've built up these several weeks of skills to where I can look at the last week and say, can I complete the drill? What I see a lot of people do, they decide, I would really like to attain this drill right now. So I'm going to set this drill up today, and I'm going to try, I'm going to fail, I'm going to try, I'm going to fail. And so we end up teaching ourselves a bad habit. We teach ourselves how to miss. We teach ourselves how to get frustrated instead of building. So there's another part to this exercise. Let's say that I shoot the 1 ball, I've got a good angle, I hit the 1 ball in, I get perfect shape on the 4 ball. What I need to do is to link this great shot that I had, the success, to parts of my self-image. So I need to be able to say, that's exactly what I normally do. I hit this shot cleanly all the time. We can also build that in our mental gym. So if you take this to our meditation bench, we can sit down, we can have a good session, calming our minds, we can have a good pool session or a practice session or a work, whatever it is, and we can set this up in our pool gym, our mind gym, and imagine what it looks like to be successful. And so we're building up that self-image while we're playing pool, when we're off at the table too, so we can be the best version of ourselves when we get to the table. I hope that helps.